What morning, Man Hour Nation? It's not morning, it's evening time. Good evening, Man Hour Nation. Week 17, baby. Week 17 is kicked off with a bang last night. The Browns defeating those infamous Jets. But we got a couple games to talk about tonight. We got the Dallas Cowboys take on the Detroit Lions, Raiders and Colts. Ravens take on the Dolphins, 49ers and the Commanders. And most important game of all in my book, Chiefs versus Bengals. But first. And now, Mike's thoughts. The Russell Wilson and Denver Broncos saga is coming to a head right now. Stuff is starting to be leaked out, a little bit of here, a little bit of there. You guys know the drill, right? Basically, AKA, we talk about you talk about us, we talk about each other, and then somehow we coexist next year, right? Basically, what is coming out right now is that Russell Wilson and his camp has been saying that, and I quote, the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton basically asked him to restructure, AKA take a pay cut in the middle of the season. Because that was going to fix all their problems right then and there. It was middle of the season pay cut. That was going to happen. Basically, Russell Wilson said if the pay cut would not have happened, he was going to ultimately get benched. And guess what? He ultimately got benched. He is now sitting behind old Jarrett Stidham, right? And Russell Wilson has come out and said, hey, I'll sit the bench next year. I don't care. I'm getting those dollar bills. Yo! My man. What? I don't know, man. I don't know what is going on in Denver at all. I think the Denver Broncos are legitimately scared to win. I think Sean Payton is legitimately scared to win. We said this back in August, right? When they were making all these moves, when people were saying, oh, we're going to trade Jerry Jeudy, we're going to trade Sutton, we're going to do this, this, and this. I was like, are they scared to win? We thought the same thing about the Detroit Lions earlier when they traded Swift and a couple other key pieces from last season. Like, get out of town. Jamal Williams, right, down to the Saints. Are the Denver Broncos just scared to win, guys? Are they? Denver Broncos fans, let me know. Are you all scared to win? Seems that way. Seems like everybody and their dog is trying to find a scapegoat at the end of the day. It is what it is. But cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzz beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhatcher here with the Man Hour. Be sure to over to manhourradio.com. Check out the blog section as we got the game previews dropping all night and all day tomorrow over there. I think we got all of the 1 o'clock games out there right now as far as games previews. So we got the 4 o'clock game, the 4:25, 5 games, and of course the Sunday night football game as well. So we will be diving deep into, we got 5 games we're going to talk about this afternoon or this evening, 9 o'clock East Coast time. We are going extremely late today. Actually, we're going back to the after hours feel, right? Because this was about the time I mean, me, myself, and Hoffy would come on during the after hours and have a grand old time. But guys, buckle up and let's talk some shit. Get in those comments right there, guys, and talk your stuff. I don't care. Bring it on. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk each other. Let's banter back and forth. Let's have some fun. But we do got to welcome some people into the chat before we get too carried away. We got Timothy Nicola in the chat. He says they beat Kansas City this year. I believe he's referring to the Cincinnati Bengals. They do play at 4:25 on Sunday afternoon. We are going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. That game is coming up. That is my last game we're going to talk about because I got it. Man, you guys been dogging my Kansas City Chiefs right there. Chiefs Kingdom, baby, for a long, long time. I actually wore a Bengals shirt on the show yesterday, and I got ridiculed. What are you, a Bengals fan now? No, slow it down, baby. Slow it down. But Timothy, we will talk about that. We will be talking about if possibly the Cincinnati Bengals can come into Burrowhead. Burrowhead my ass, says Jabronies. Come on. They ain't winning. Or are they? Stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about the Chiefs taking on the Bengals as well. Then we got Scott. Scott, I'm not even going to try to butcher your last name because I got the same butchering of the last name for my whole life. So Scott, what is up, my man? What is up? What is up? What is up? Hope you're having a grand old day there, Scott. Scott, who is your team? Let me know in the comments below, Scott. Who do you represent? Who do you rep? Do you a Steelers fan? Are you a Jets fan? Are you like Hoffy and whoever's winning the AFC East fan? But I can't dog my man Hoffy too much because he will not be here tonight as he is taking care of his little one. They just got home from the hospital. So the baby's like 3 days old. And my man is a happy, happy father. And just on cue, AFC East. AFC East it is. Scott's a Buffalo Bills fan. Are we talking about the Buffalo Bills? We're not going to talk about actually, we are talking about the Buffalo Bills later. We do have some Buffalo Bills talk coming up as well. We got Barry Robb in the chat. I see some Saints going on. What's up, Barry? Hope you're having a good day too, my man. My man's got some Saints. Timothy, who are you? Are you a Bengals fan, Timothy, or are you just out there trying to start some shit? Let me know. Let me know who you guys' team is in the comments below so we can start to get acquainted a little bit. My team is obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. I do have the GOATs on the wall there. I got Peyton Manning right there, got Tom Brady, and of course, Patrick freaking Mahomes on the wall as well. But guys, we have to talk about the first game that I want to talk about. This game is tomorrow night, right? We do have the Dallas Cowboys taking on the infamous Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are riding high right now, right, guys? They are to the moon, baby. But this game means a whole lot more for some people than it does others. What do you mean by that, Buck? Well, let's just be honest. The Dallas Cowboys are happy where they're at. The Dallas Cowboys are happy where they are at. They are happy being a 5th seed in the NFC playoff picture. Granted, they would love, don't get it twisted, they would love to be a number 1 seed. Absolutely love it, right? But let's just be realistic about this matter, right? The Philadelphia Eagles have to lose to the Cardinals and or the Giants. The Giants could battle them, could. Cardinals, I don't see it happening whatsoever. No way, Jose, get out of town, right? San Francisco 49ers, they actually have to lose twice, right? They have to lose to the Commanders and the Rams. I could see them losing to the Rams week 18, right? But I just don't see them going into Washington, D.C. and losing that game. So with that being said, I think the Dallas Cowboys are sitting A-okay at the 5th seed. They're like, hey, we're 5th seed. We've been in the playoffs for damn near a month now. You know what? We're just going to come in here and we're going to give you some bread and butter plays and bada bing, bada boom. Whatever happens, happens, right? Whatever happens, happens. So the first thing I got to say about this Dallas Cowboys taking on the Detroit Lions game, this game means a hell of a lot more for the Detroit Lions than it does the Dallas Cowboys. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. This game means a hell of a lot more for the Detroit Lions than it does the Dallas Cowboys. Why? Because the Detroit Lions still, in theory, have a legitimate shot of getting that first overall seed. They legit can get that first overall seed. The Cowboys have an opportunity, but let's just be honest, they're not going to get it. The Detroit Lions do. They win the last 2 games versus the Vikings and the Cowboys, and the 49ers slip up one more time. They are in that first place seed, and they get the first overall seed in the first round bye. They could probably use it after their kind of gauntlet of a schedule they had the last 6 weeks. They're kind of battling back and forth with the Packers and Bears and Saints and Vikings, right? They're like, man, let's get a breather. Also, this means a hell of a lot more for the Detroit Lions because we've seen it before. When a team wins, clinches a playoff berth, wins their division, does a little bit of this, does a little bit of that, they have usually a big letdown the following game. Let's flash back to the Dallas Cowboys take on the Buffalo Bills. They already knew they were clinched into the playoffs. They already knew they played bad on the road. They already knew that they were pretty much not going to get NFC East or home field advantage. So they kind of possibly took they did take the foot off the gas versus the Buffalo Bills. Let's just call a spade a spade. This game is so much bigger for the Detroit Lions because I don't want to see them have a letdown, right? I feel like if they have a letdown versus the Dallas Cowboys, it's going to carry on into the Minnesota Vikings game. Like, we already got the North locked up. We already got the second or third seed locked up. It doesn't matter. Like, it is what it is, right? Two game losing streak in the playoffs. It's just the playoffs. We'll turn it on. I don't think the Lions can do that, right? Also, they're coming off their first ever NFC North championship. They're on cloud 9 right now. They had Jared Goff hugging his lineman. Oh, we did it. They were sobbing like they won the freaking Super Bowl. Like, what? Like, it is what it is. So this is a perfect storm for the Dallas Cowboys to beat the Detroit Lions, right? This game's a hell of a lot more important for the Detroit Lions coming off the first ever NFC Championship North win. First ever. Wrap your head around that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right, had a more recent NFC North or the NFC division win before them, whatever. Back when it was the Central, right? And the Dallas Cowboys they're going to come in and play loosey-goosey. They know that they're going to have to play the Detroit Lions possibly in the first round of the playoffs. Let's try something. Let's figure it out. Let's put a little bit of this. Let's put a little bit of that. Let's see what happens, right? Let's see what happens. Laura's in the chat. What is up, Laura? Man, 3 times in 1 week. My heart's exploding, baby. She says the Lions, not the Laurens. The Lions have to win. She says the Lions have to win. The Lions have to go into AT&T Stadium, Jerry's World, Dallas, Texas, and whoop those Cowboys' asses. Laura, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you're a Bengals fan. Was it a Bengals? No, Browns fan. The Smitty, it says not going to happen. What is not going to happen, Smitty? What is not going to happen, my man? Are the Cowboys not going to just give the Lions a bread and butter game? Are the Detroit Lions, are the Cowboys not going to try something new against the Detroit Lions? This is a perfect shot for the Dallas Cowboys to really, quote, get right? This opportunity, this game versus the Detroit Lions for the Dallas Cowboys is a perfect opportunity. They could try something new. They're struggling against run defense. Jahmyr Gibbs is starting to run like a beast. They let the training wheels off that man, and that man is running lights out. Figure out how to stop it. Try something new. Maybe put Micah Parsons at an outside linebacker instead of middle linebacker. Try putting Micah Parsons at the nose guard instead of defensive end. They have house money to play with. It doesn't matter if they win, lose, or draw this game. They're pretty much locked into the 5th seed. The Dallas Cowboys are pretty much locked in to play the NFC South winner, which is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They match up very, very well against the Buccaneers. Going to win that game probably against the Buccaneers. Yes, that's right. The Dallas Cowboys are going to go on the road and win another road playoff game. The same team that can't beat above 500 team on the road. The Bucs are probably going to be a 10-win team. It is what it is. Gage Johnson says, Lions versus Cowboys. Lions win. Bengals versus Chiefs. Chiefs win. Raiders versus Colts. Raiders win. Ravens versus Dolphins. Fins win. 49ers versus Commanders. Niners win. We'll see how that... Gage, I don't agree with you one bit. I don't. I think the 49ers are going to go in and struggle against the Commanders. I think the Cowboys are going to beat down the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions are going to come into AT&T Stadium and they're going to shit the bed. They are satisfied. They won their Super Bowl last weekend. They were crying. They were blubbering. They were like, oh, we done it. A letdown is coming. Detroit Lions fans, a letdown is coming. It is what it is. Hayden says, Drew Ogtree arrested. I don't know who Drew Ogtree is. Must be a Bengals player. Smitty says, go Cardinals, go Lions this weekend. Cardinals are playing the... Who are the Cardinals playing? Cardinals are playing the Eagles, right? Eagles. That's basically... Smitty sounds just like an NFC East hater. He wants the Cardinals to beat the Eagles and the Lions to beat the Cowboys. NFC East hater there. Mary says Cowboys. Are you a Cowboys fan, Mary? Or are you thinking they're going to win? Smitty says the Lions are getting the number one spot. Is not going to happen. I concur with that, Smitty. Smitty, I think we have become friends. I think we finally agree on something. I think the Detroit Lions are not getting the number one spot. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win out. They're going to beat the Cardinals. They're going to beat the Giants. The 49ers are going to stumble against either the Commanders or the Rams. Either or. And the Eagles are going to get it. Drew Ogtree is the Colts tight end. He's like the fifth string tight end or something. Because I thought they had Mo Alex Cox and then what's the other guy's name? I am terrible with names off the top of my head 9 times out of 10. So yeah, Drew Ogtree is the fourth string tight end. Honestly, who really cares about a fourth string tight end? I don't think a fourth string tight end is going to make or break their game versus the Raiders this weekend. I just don't. I mean, like, I don't mean to be like mean or like anything, but like, I don't think a fourth string tight end is going to make a difference, Hayden. Like, I just don't see it. And he says the second/third and is Kyle's grandson. Okay. Okay. My man Jim Pal is in the chat. Says it's the Colts, man. Nobody cares. Nobody cares as it's the Colts. Smitty says the Niners are getting that number one spot. You know, you've been bringing up the Niners a lot here, Smitty. So let me jump forward and let's talk about those San Francisco 49ers. Let's talk about how the San Francisco 49ers took that ass whooping on Monday night. Let's talk about how the 49ers fans are reverting back to the Dallas Cowboys game back in week 5 when they got beat down by the Baltimore Ravens. They're like, oh, we beat the Cowboys. Let's talk about those San Francisco 49ers that are going to get the, quote, number one seed. The San Francisco 49ers, guys, going to Washington, D.C. this weekend to play a very, very stingy Commanders team. Basically, what it comes down to, if the 49ers win this game, they basically lock in the number 1 seed. They got to go across the United States of America, play a 1 o'clock game in Washington, D.C., in a rainy, slowy, sleety ass mix. It is disgusting outside here in Louisville, Kentucky. So I couldn't imagine it being, usually it makes its way up there like a day or two after the fact. So it is going to be nasty in Washington, D.C. come Sunday afternoon. Not only is it a 1 o'clock game, that means it's like 10 o'clock in the San Francisco 49ers head, but they have a lot of injuries that are piling up on the San Francisco 49ers sideline there, right? Brock Purdy, quote, got injured on Monday night, a.k.a. he got his ass benched. Let's just be honest. He got his ass benched. Offensive line, Trent Williams goes down, right? Armstead, Eric Armstead on the defensive side of the ball, he goes down too, right? There was also, was it the left guard or the left tackle? No, it was, sorry, the left guard or right guard. Banks is his name. Banks went down as well, right? So the last time the 49ers went into somewhere on the East Coast, Cleveland, Ohio, injuries piled up, they lost that game. What happens when their third-round kicker missed that kick, guys? It compiled not 1 loss, not 2 losses, but 3 losses in a row. Granted, they also lost Trent Williams in that game and Debo, right? And Christian McCaffrey came out injured as well. Now, they didn't come out as injured as they did versus the Browns, but they still come out a little bit injured. Eric Armstead and Trent Williams are 2 big losses. Trent Williams is listed as questionable per our blog, so we'll see if he is able to go on Sunday. But 2 things that I'm really looking forward to in this game is, can the 49ers officially bounce back? Right? The last time when the 49ers lost, 3-game losing streak, they needed a week off to, quote, get their heads right. Right? They need to get their heads right. Now, they could possibly still end up on a 3-game losing streak, get a week off, and skip their heads right and go on another 6-game, or be a 3-game tear, right? They could. If the Eagles get beat and the Lions get beat and the Cowboys get beat, it's a possibility. Good possibility, but maybe not. But the simple fact of the matter is, guys, if I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan right now, if I'm faithful by the Bay, FTTB, I am worried sick about this game. I am worried sick about going 1 o'clock on the East Coast if I'm a San Francisco 49ers fan. I am worried sick if I am Brock Purdy. I am worried sick if I am George Kittle. Understand this, the 49ers are a team that has been exposed. They have been exposed. The blueprint has been laid out to beat them. Now, guys, I see all your thousands upon thousands of comments on our clips that we do in our post. I see them all. Many people are like, oh, they were exposed, they lost 1 game. Slow it down, baby. No, we're not going to slow it down. They were exposed on Monday night versus the Baltimore Ravens. They were exposed and got that ass whooped. Let's just be honest. They got that ass whooped. How are they going to bounce back? That is the question for people in the chat. How do you guys think the San Francisco 49ers are going to bounce back versus the Commanders? Are they going to bounce back? Are they going to go on a 3-game skid? Oh, and my favorite comment of all, right? We've already beat the Rams once this year. How are we going to lose to them twice? Playoffs. Playoffs. Lose to them week 18, turn around, play them in the first round, and like in the playoffs, back-to-back losses to the Rams. There you go. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Rob is in the chat. What's up, Rob? He says Cowboys, Chiefs, Raiders, Dolphins, 49ers. Win, 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 win. I hope you're somewhat right there, Rob. I don't want the Raiders to win, but everybody else, I could take it. Jim Powell says they have to take it, Smitty, but they'll take it until they play them in the Super Bowl. They'll have to take what, Jim? I'm not following, Jim. What do they got to take? Braden's in the chase says, how's the live going, man? It's going pretty well. We just started, like 15 minutes in. Talked a little bit about the Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Now we're bashing the 49ers. Smitty says, nobody is stressing about the Ravens game, but the outside world. Niners fans are Gucci. Speaking of injuries, Commanders have a lot as well. Niners are the better team, relax. That's exactly my point there, Smitty. You basically said what I said in a pro 49er form, right? We are going to take everything that is wrong with us and we're going to spin around and put it on the Commanders. The Commanders are injured, right? The Commanders are on their third string quarterback. We get it. They're starting Jacoby Brissett. I would be worried about that. Jacoby Brissett is a freaking dog. Be worried about that guy. He is a dog. The Commanders are playing with house money. They have absolutely nothing to lose. They're playing spoiler. Spoiler, baby. What is the greatest feeling in the world if you can't make it to the playoffs and win a championship? Knocking another team out. Making another team, basically making them your bitch. That's what it comes down to. Making that other team your bitch. And that's what the Commanders are playing for right now. The Eric Bieniemy effect. We talked about that, Monday or Tuesday? We talked about Eric Bieniemy basically building a culture in Washington, D.C., building a culture for the Commanders. Earlier in the season, the Commanders players hated it. Hated it. Now they're buying into it. The Commanders battled the Eagles. Yes, I know the 49ers whooped down the Eagles, whatever, like 40 points. We get it. Cool. 6-7 weeks ago. Awesome. The Commanders are a tough out. Smitty, like everybody else, don't be sleeping on the Commanders. Jonas Howard's in the chat. He says Washington does not have enough to stop them from bouncing back. I would agree with you to an extent, Jonas. I do know that the Washington Commanders, Halloween 2 months ago, they basically traded everybody and tried to wipe their hands, right? They tried to wipe their hands of like all the past and bring in the future. Chase Young, right? We forgot Chase Young was on the 49ers, right? They used to play on the Commanders. They want to come out and smack it at Chase Young, and Chase Young wants to smack it to them. We understand that. But the Washington Commanders are still pretty good. They had fat to trim on the defensive side. Chase Young and Sweat, right? They were the fat that had to get trimmed to build for the future. They didn't lose any of their offensive pieces. They still got Jacoby Brissett and Sam Howell, two quarterbacks that can, possibly win you a game. Upset alert. Still have Brian Robertson. Still have Scary Carey, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson. They still have a lot of weapons on that Commanders' offensive side. The Commanders are not going to be an easy out, guys. Slow it down. Slow it down. Jim says the Commanders being their last game is like playing East Carolina School for the Deaf and the Blind. So Jim is basically trying to say that the Commanders are not going to show up. They're going to check out. 2 weeks left in the season. We don't care. Our last home game? Well, we have 2 home games left. We're looking forward to Dallas, baby. No, I think the Commanders want to beat the 49ers. They want to beat the Cowboys, that game's not going to matter whatsoever. They're more worried about the 49ers. Knocking a team from the first seed down to the second or third seed, possibly, that's a feather in your hat. Beating the Cowboys, yes, it is nice to beat a division foe, but you're not going to knock them out of the 5th seed. You're not going to knock them out of the number 1 seed. Right? It is what it is. Commanders for the last game is like scheduling the worst team in high school league for homecoming. Oh, Jimmy. So, guys, who do you got tonight? Or who do you got in that game? 49ers or the Commanders? I want to go with the upset. I would love to pick the upset. But to be determined. To be determined. I will release it Sunday morning when we do the game threads. I want to see how their offensive line looks. They got like 3 starters out, so I want to see how their offensive line looks, but possibly. We'll possibly see if we can pull the upset. Speaking of a game that matters a lot, this game matters very, 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 very much so. And that is the Raiders taking on the Indianapolis Colts in Indy. I possibly might make my way up to that game. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Tickets are about $150. Why not? Go up there, a little bit of tax write-off, bada bing, bada boom. Support the local team. Even though I'm a Chiefs fan, I'll be rooting for the Colts. Beat those nasty Raiders. Jim, let's make a date out of it, man. You can wear that stupid-ass black jersey, and I'll go buy a Colts jersey. We'll make a date out of it. But Raiders versus Colts, guys. This game has so much playoff implications in it, right? If the Raiders lose this game, their playoff hopes are basically out the window. They're gone, gone, gone. If the Colts win this game, 71% chance of making it into the playoffs. Now, if some way, somehow, the Raiders can go into Indianapolis after winning their Super Bowl and not have that letdown and win that game, they still have a 29% chance of making the playoffs. Now, there is an outside chance, 1.1% chance, that the Raiders can still win the division. If the Chiefs lose out and the Broncos lose out and the Raiders win out, they have an opportunity to win the AFC West, which obviously they would win the NFC West if both of those teams lose out. But a better scenario for the Las Vegas Raiders is a wild card. If they can win versus the Indianapolis Colts, like I said, that gives them a 29% chance of making the playoffs, but they need some help. They need a little bit of help to get into those playoffs. Right now, teams that they need to lose, Buffalo Bills, Jaguars, Colts, Texans, Bengals, and Steelers all need to lose, and at least 2 of those teams need to finish worse than 9-8. Then we look at the Colts. The Colts are still the front. I feel they're the front runners of the AFC South right now. Jacksonville Jaguars, sitting Trevor Lawrence. Should have sat him like a month ago and let that man heal, but he's finally out. Jaguars are out. CJ Stroud, I've not heard if he's playing yet or not. So Texans, right? Obviously, it comes down to a week 18 matchup. Texans versus Colts. That'd be a magic game. But like I said, if the Colts win out, they're basically in the playoffs. 71% chance. Yes, they do need a little bit of help. A little bit of help, a.k.a. Steelers losing. But when it comes down to it, guys, who needs this game more? Meaning for the future, right? When we look at the future of both of these teams, I feel that both of these teams right now, as currently constructed, have a very, very bright future. The Raiders, if they keep their coaching staff intact, if they keep that offense intact, that defense intact, Jim, I think you said the best. The last 3 weeks, the Raiders have the best defense in the NFL. The last 2 weeks, they've had the best offense in the NFL. Granted, it was against the Chargers and the Chiefs, right? But it is what it is. If the Raiders keep intact, guys, and they win this game, as a Chiefs fan, I am scared of the Las Vegas Raiders moving forward. As a Chiefs fan, if the Raiders get momentum going into the offseason, I am scared of them. Look at the Detroit Lions last season, right? They started off 0-7 or 1-7 or something. Went on an 8-game tear to end the season. Positive momentum going into the offseason. What they do? Come out this season on fire. Boom, 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 baby. This is what the Vegas Raiders need. They need to... They don't need to make the playoffs. They just need to play well these last 2 games. Be very, very competitive. Make Antonio Pierce their new head coach. I think Antonio Pierce is a culture-changing coach for the Vegas Raiders. Somebody that they need. Chucky. John Gruden, right? Now, on the other side of the coin, you have the Indianapolis Colts. You have the Colts that were without their starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson. Oh, we forgot about him? Yeah, he's their extra starter. He's been out since week 3, right? Grady, and I don't think he played one full game either. The Colts don't even have their starting offense out there, right? Gardner Minshew's the backup quarterback. Oh, JT missed first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. He's been in and out of the lineup. Colts' future looks bright too. Now, with that being said, who needs this win more? I think for a momentum reasoning going into the offseason, I think the Raiders need this win more. I think the Raiders need the win more. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They need to win out with a lot of help, and I don't think that help is going to go their way. But how nice would it feel to end the season beating the Chiefs, beating the Chargers, beating the Colts, right? And don't they play the Denver Broncos the last week of the season? Let me look it up. I should have looked that up. That's my fault. Yeah, Broncos. End on a 4-game winning streak, 63-21, 20-14. Let's say you beat the Colts 27-10. You beat down the Broncos, eliminate their playoff hopes. Whew. Damn, baby, that is to the moon. To the freaking moon, baby. Then the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are a team that they have been like just there for that long. They've been just good enough not to get a good pick. And when they finally get a good pick, their quarterback goes down, but they're still just not bad enough to get another good pick. The Colts almost need to make the playoffs this season. The Colts almost need to make the playoffs just as simply to say, hey, free agents, come to us. We are a competitive team. We don't even have our starting running back or our starting quarterback. Come to us. We need a receiver. We need some defensive help. We need a little bit of this. We need a little bit of that. Guys, if the Colts make the playoffs as let's say a 6th seed. Let's say they make it as a wild card and they play the Kansas City Chiefs in the first round. And they battle the Kansas City Chiefs. Hell, they upset the Kansas City Chiefs. For the Shoe Mania in Indianapolis, Indiana will be going effing crazy. Future will be bright. Super Bowl will be in reach for the Colts, right? Who do you guys think's win this game? Raiders or the Colts? Let me know in the comments. I think the Colts win. I'm picking the Colts at home. I think they rebound by that tough loss last week. Then we're talking about the game that everybody has circled right now. Junis, my man, says Indianapolis Colts need it more to get to the playoffs now. Minshew is good. The defense is bad. See, and I don't think the Colts defense is that bad. They have been improving each and every week. They got pieces out. Shaq Leonard was not a good fit for them, right? they've been holding their opponents under 20 points most of the season. I take that back. About 22, 23 points average. Their defense isn't terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. Still working Matt Eberflus's system out of the way. Still bringing the new regime. That's why they need to win. Bring in the new regime. Get those players in. But let's talk about the Ravens take on the Miami Dolphins. This game has a lot of implications in it. This game has me intrigued. This game has me very, very excited on the edge of my seat. For the first time in a long time, I'm going to purposely tune into a Ravens game. Living in the Louisville, Kentucky area, I get a lot of bum-ass Ravens games, and I freaking hated it. Bought NFL Sunday ticket this year to watch my Chiefs, and we digress on that. But the Ravens take on the Miami Dolphins. First things first, guys, who do you guys have winning this game? Let me know. Then we ask the question, who needs this game more? Who needs this game more? When we look at the Ravens, their implications, right? They win, they lock in the number 1 overall seed in the first round bye in the AFC. They win, they show that their season really hasn't been a fluke. That win versus the 49ers wasn't a fluke. That beat down of the Detroit Lions wasn't a fluke. However, let's play devil's advocate here, right, guys? Let's play devil's advocate. It is hard to win 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row as a NFL team. I don't care who you are. You can be the Dallas Cowboys, you can be the 49ers, you can be the Baltimore Ravens. It is hard to win 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row. Right now, guys, the Baltimore Ravens are on a 5-game losing streak. Now, it would be nice to flex on the Miami Dolphins. It would be nice going 13-3 into Week 18 versus the Pittsburgh Steelers in a no-nonsense game like at that particular point. But let's be devil's advocate here. Would a loss to the Miami Dolphins benefit the Baltimore Ravens long term? What do I mean by that? Let's think about this. Let's say the Baltimore Ravens beat the Miami Dolphins and they lock in that number 1 seed. The next week they play a Pittsburgh Steelers team. More than likely we'll be sitting Lamar Jackson, Odell Beckham Jr., Zay Flowers, some key parts of the offensive line, most of the defensive guys. They'll be playing a second team versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Then you go into a bye week. Then you come back and you're going to be playing a team, possibly the Cleveland Browns or the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the lower seeded teams. But they're still going to be good. Buffalo Bills, right? But you're going to be off for 2 weeks. Your starter's going to be off at 2 weeks, extra 3 weeks at that particular point going into that game. AKA rust. Rust will start appearing on the Baltimore Ravens. So I think the Baltimore Ravens obviously should play to win the game. They should want to win the game. They should go out there and play to win the game. But a loss to the Miami Dolphins would not be so bad for them. 5 wins in a row. You lose one. It is what it is. You come out and you have to play Week 18. Darn it, I still got a week off. I'd rather have 1 week off than 2 weeks, right? We have seen it on some teams. I'm trying to think of a team recently that had the number 1 seed locked in week 15, right? They had their playoff spot locked in like week 15. They set the guys week 16, 17, and had a bye. So the guys haven't played for damn near a month. Hadn't played for like a month, and then come out and they got their asses beat. A loss to the Miami Dolphins would not hurt the Baltimore Ravens this week. Now, it would make a great Monday show for like me It would make a great Monday show for ESPN or NBC and all those other guys. It would make for a great Monday show. But I'm saying it would not be bad if the Baltimore Ravens lost this game. Then we look at the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are looking for that next big signature win. What has been the knock on the Miami Dolphins all season long, right? They can't beat good teams on the road. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys, right? They can't beat good teams on the road. Miami traveling to Baltimore, going to be nasty, going to be raining, sleeting, whatever, right? Looking for that good road signature win. Looking to, say, hey, look at us. And if they win, they lock in the AFC East. But then the Buffalo Bills, Week 18 game really not going to matter, right? Probably lock in at that point, be the number 2 seed. So, who needs to win more? Let's jump into the comments here. Jim says the Dolphins have been on top of the mountain this week. Will be a valley. So, Jim thinks since the Miami Dolphins beat the Dallas Cowboys in a last-second field goal, 22-20, there's going to be a letdown in Miami. There's going to be a letdown. We beat a good team. We got that monkey off of our back, right? Maybe. Jim also said the Dolphins are looking for that signature win this season. True. Very, very true. Bobby Rob's in the chat, and he says Lamar needs this game more than the Ravens or the Dolphins need it. Lamar takes so much shit from everybody for being nothing more than a running back. Lamar needs this game to calm the shit talkers. I have been one of those shit talkers, Barry. Ever since Lamar Jackson came into the league, I was like, hey, this guy is not a very good quarterback. He cannot throw the long ball. He came in his halfway through the rookie year, right? Kind of started proving the doubters a little bit wrong. Second year, 2019, obviously won the MVP. 2020, 2021, 2022. I was like, told you so. I saw the man play at Louisville. I told you so, right? This year, I am eating a lot of crow. Lamar Jackson has definitely stepped up his game this season. Now, is it because of the new play calling? Is it because of the weapons around him? Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr., right? Mitchell till he tear his ACL. I mean, he has talent around him. The defense, right? Playing great. The defense is amazing. It is a lot easier to work on your mechanics mid-game, sit in the pocket, be patient, take the sack, throw away the ball when you know your defense is top-notch defense. Is it just a perfect storm? Who knows? But Jim says, Barry, you're right. MVP needs the game more than anyone in the running department. Delray, Robert Tree, Mr. Detroit Lions fan himself, says he's a choke artist in the playoffs too. That has been the biggest knock of Lamar Jackson, right? Is he cannot win in December and or January. Hoffy, early December, late November, right before he went on leave, Lamar Jackson actually has one of the best winning percentages in the month of December when he starts the game and finishes the game. The problem is Lamar Jackson has problems starting and finishing games in the month of December and January. With that being said, he is a, quote, a choke artist in the playoffs. The last choke artist playoff game that recently comes to mind is the Buffalo Bills game 2 years ago when he got sacked in the end zone, got a concussion in, it was the second quarter, and he basically missed the whole game. So is it really choking or is it just not being healthy enough to play the whole game? I don't know. But guys, Who needs this game more? Baltimore Ravens or the Miami Dolphins? I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins. I think the Miami Dolphins need this game more. I think the Baltimore Ravens need that loss. I think the Baltimore Ravens need a reason to play Week 18 so they don't get rust on them. Now, me as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I want the Ravens to win. Sit your guys Week 18. Get that bye week when Kansas City Chiefs come into Arrowhead. You guys are nice and rusty. I'm just saying. But the Dolphins need to. I think the Dolphins need to win more. They need to lock up the East, right? They need that signature win, and they need to prove to themselves that they can go on the road and beat the Baltimore Ravens, because obviously the Super Bowl is going to go through Baltimore, I feel. My man Arthur Brown is in the chat. He says the Dolphins need to win more. Arthur is a Dolphins fans, guys, so represent. Dolphins in the chat, baby. So we talked about the Cowboys and Lions. Talked about Raiders and Colts. 49ers and the Commanders. And we have talked about the Ravens versus Dolphins. Now it's time to talk about a game that has a lot of playoff implications. Fins up, baby. A game that has a lot of implications on it. 4:25 at Burrowhead, right? The Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. This game has a lot of playoff implications for both teams. Kansas City Chiefs need a win. They need a win to lock in a playoff spot. Simple as that. They win the West, bada bing, bada boom. All this missing the playoff crap, the Raiders coming in and winning the division is all out the window. It doesn't matter at that point. Chiefs win, and they're in. Simple as that. Bengals, their road's a little bit more tricky, right? If they lose, they're down to an 8% chance of making the playoffs. And then at that particular point, the Texans got to lose out, Steelers got to lose out, Bills got to lose out, Colts got to lose out, and then they got to win their Week 18 game, which they do play the Cleveland Browns, I do believe. So, when we look at these two games, guys, question is going to be asked. Again, who needs this game more? The Cincinnati Bengals or the Kansas City Chiefs? Oh, man. Excuse me. Me as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I'm going to put that disclaimer out there right now. Yes, I want my Kansas City Chiefs to win this game. Yes, I want them to beat the living crap out of the Cincinnati Bengals. I want them to put 80 points on those mofos. I don't even want them to let them score 20. 80-0, baby. Blow them out. But when we look at the Kansas City Chiefs in this game versus the Cincinnati Bengals, they need to figure themselves out. Ever since the loss to the Denver Broncos, Thanksgiving weekend, right? The Kansas City Chiefs look like a fish out of water. They're flapping around and they find a little bit of puddle. They get a little bit of satisfied. The sun comes out and that puddle starts to dry and they start flapping around again. They are a chicken with their heads cut off right now. Their quarterback is blowing up. Their leader, tight end, Travis Kelce, is blowing up. Something in Kansas City is not right. We talked about it. Is it Eric Bieniemy? Was it a good cop, bad cop type of thing with Andy Reid? There's no bad cop anymore. Everybody's like, oh, it's okay, guys. It's okay. But the Kansas City Chiefs need a get-right game. They not only need to execute on the defensive side of the ball, they don't need to not only execute on the special teams side of the ball, they need to execute on the offensive side of the ball, and they need to dominate. They need to dominate this game. These next two games, the Kansas City Chiefs need to just dominate and flex on the NFL, saying, hey, we are still them. With that being said, they need to get their swag back. What made Kansas City Chiefs so tough to defend? You never knew where it was going to come from. Was it going to be Juju? Was it going to be MVS? Was it going to be Josh Gordon? Was it going to be Sky Moore? CEH, Isaiah, right? We never knew where it was going to come from. Patrick Mahomes had a certain swag about him. Like the no-look passes, the sidearm, the jumping, throwing it 80 yards down the field. They need that swag back. Also, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs moving forward, when they win this game, they're going to be locked into the third seed, and they're going to be playing the Bills or the Browns in the first round of the playoffs. They need this get right game. Flash over to the Cincinnati Bengals side. Cincinnati Bengals has been dealing with injuries much like most of the AFC. I feel like if you do not have an injury on the AFC side of the thing, on offensive side, you better be checked for steroids because something's wrong, right? Everybody, it seems like, has lost their guy, right? Joe Burrow went out week 10. We sat here on the show. They're done. Right? We said they're done. I said they're done. Hoffy said they're done. Insert Jake Browning. If the Cincinnati Bengals win this game over the Kansas City Chiefs and they make a playoff push, 57% chance to make the playoffs if they win this game, then they would just need a loss from the Bills, Colts, or Steelers at that particular point to get in. Or all three of those, one loss each. Think about this. The Cincinnati Bengals can make the playoffs without Joe Burrow. Wrap your heads around that, guys. We said they were done. We actually have a clip right there on Facebook that is people are pissed off about that. Said, hey, is Joe Burrow overrated? If the Cincinnati Bengals, right, let's look at their schedule, right? They were, speaking of flapping fishes, right? They were 3-3 going into the bye week with Joe Burrow. Then they started to get right? They beat the 49ers, they beat the Bills, then they lost to the Houston Texans, and they lost to the Ravens. Joe Burrow goes out, right? Then they lose to the Steelers, beat the Jaguars, beat the Colts, beat the Vikings, and lose to the Steelers again. Right? The question is not that Joe Burrow's overrated, but is Jake Browning a better fit for the Cincinnati Bengals? So we got to ask the question, what if Jake Browning leads the Cincinnati Bengals to the playoffs without Joe Burrow, without Jamar Chase that is going to be out again, it looks like with his shoulder, right? 2 weeks in a row. And they make the playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, playoffs. So we got to ask the question, who needs this game more? I think the answer is simple. I think the Kansas City Chiefs need this game more. They need this game more because they need 2 flex games on the NFL. They need 2 games where they absolutely dominate the opponent from the kickoff to the final whistle. The Bengals pretty much are playing with house money at this particular point, right? House money. They were not expected to do anything without Joe Burrow. Nothing. Here they are fighting for like a playoff spot. It is what it is. Playing with house money. I think the Chiefs need it more. Scroll back up here. Arthur Brown says, can KC win on the road in the playoffs? We don't know. They never had to play a road playoff game. The one time that they were in the second seed in the playoffs, underneath Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens were the number 1 seed, and they got beat their first game by the Buffalo Bills. Right? That was the game that Lamar Jackson got the concussion and went out. So we don't know. I would assume so. defense travels, right? The Kansas City Chiefs had the best defense in the NFL. Let me step back on that. One of the best defenses of the NFL, right? Barry says Mahomes and Kelsey are gonna be out for blood. They have gotten embarrassed as of late, and I think those two put on a clinic. See, and I think that has been one of the biggest downfalls is that they are trying too hard. They are trying to force the issue, Barry. So when baseball players, basketball players, right, get into a shooting slump or a hitting slump, they start to press, right? They start swinging out of balls out of the zone, start shooting shots that is not theirs. And I hope Andy Reid kind of reels them in a little bit. Go back to fundamentals, run the damn ball, right? Work them into the game. And you can be out for blood, but I want you to do it bread and butter wise, right? Let's get back to the basics. Let's let every player run a play perfect, and then for like a quarter, and then we'll start the nickel and diamond, right? Then we'll start to have some razzle-dazzle fun. I think that has been one of the downfalls for the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes is trying to play out of his body right now. Trying to play, obviously he is an elite level quarterback, but he's trying to do too much. If that makes sense. Barry also says that the Chiefs need this game more. Arthur Brown says they need a receiver. See, and I would agree with you, Arthur Brown, to an extent. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are missing that hard-nosed, no-nonsense type of person / coach / player. Somebody out there, right? No nonsense. I think Eric Bieniemy was that guy. Let's flash back to September, October. The Commanders were actually saying, we want Eric Bieniemy out of here. He's too hard on us, right? He is demanding and expects way too much out of us. We weren't expecting this. I think Eric Bieniemy is the reason that the flaws of the Kansas City Chiefs are starting to show. Why the flaws of the Kansas City Chiefs are being exploited the way they are. 40-some-odd drops this season, right? Do you think a hard-nosed, straight-edge coach like Eric Bieniemy would stand for that as an offensive coordinator? Do you think he would allow Patrick Mahomes to blow up on the sideline the way he did? Do you think he would allow Travis Kelce to blow up on the sideline the way he did? No, I don't think he would. There is a reason why Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are acting out the way we have never seen them act out before, because they never had to do that. They've always had a coach that could keep people in line, check them, do this, do that. So I necessarily don't think they need a receiver. They need a coach that's going to grow some nuts and check people. Be a man among men. If I was Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs right now, I would be in Eric Bieniemy's ear. Hey, man, our Super Bowl window is about 3 years left. Travis Kelce has 2 years left maybe in him. Come back over to Kansas City. Let's win 2 more championships, baby. And then you are a coach in waiting. Andy Reid's like 70-some-odd years old, right? He probably has 2 years left in him, too. You come back here, you got the keys to the kingdom. Andy Reid is still our guy, still our face. But behind the scenes, you are the coach in waiting. You are our de facto assistant GM. You are the guy calling the shots. That's what the Kansas City Chiefs need to do. I don't think it's receivers. I don't think it's defense. I don't think it's quarterback or running back or a capture or whatever. They're missing one coach, and that's Eric Bieniemy. Barry Brown says they need to focus on playing ball. No more commercials. No more Taylor Swift shit. Get back to playing ball. So, Barry, most of these commercials are filmed during the off season. I was I had the opportunity to film a commercial in Canada when I was up there. And I think it aired sometime in November. Like it was middle of November, right when our playoffs started to like start, and that kind of thing. And we were on a slump, right? We lost 3 out of 4 games and teams we should have beat, right? We were a very, very good team, and we shouldn't have lost these teams. And people were out there saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be worrying about ball. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, your commercial. Dude, I recorded that back in April. Like, the money is already in my bank account, and damn it, I already spent that shit. Like, what are you talking about, right? So most of these commercials are all filmed during the off season. Very, very few commercials are filmed during the season. And most of those are NFL commercials at that particular point, you know, like the critical catch and the cancer, and like that stuff is formed like, you know, filmed like a week before. And it's no like magic big broadcast like commercial. It's just like, hey, I support the Susan B. whatever her name is, Foundation. It's very 10-second-ish, right? Now, Taylor Swift. I think us media fans in general are making that out to be more than what it is, right? We're not talking about Patrick Mahomes and his wife. We're not talking about Tooney and his and his girl, right? We're not talking about Tyreek Hill and his wife. It is because the Fox and CBS, every time Taylor Swift is in the stadiums, they make a big spectacle out of it. They're like, oh, here comes Tay-Tay, right? I mean, it's good for the sport, right? But it's given Travis Kelce a bad look. I mean, if you want to go that far into saying that they need to focus on playing ball, cut out their lives, cut out commercials, go with the podcast too. No more podcasts. Tyreek Hill, your podcast gone. The Kelce Brothers podcast, your guys is gone, right? There are so many players out there doing podcasts now. Cut it all out then, right? I mean, and then Arthur Brown wants to say, at this point, you are missing Tyreek Hill. It would be nice to have that deep threat. I would love it. But the simple fact of the matter is we don't have him. We brought MVS in to replace him, right? Or not really replace him, but like insert him, whatever, right? Sky Moore was supposed to be it. Isaiah Pacheco was supposed to be a receiver. CEH sucked it up so much that Isaiah had to come play running back. I mean, it would be nice to have a guy like Tyreek Hill, but we saw it. The last year Tyreek Hill was in Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes was forcing him the ball over and over and over again, and it caused the Kansas City Chiefs to not be as dangerous. Patches, I think you mean Pacheco, runs. He's got to run angry. That man always runs angry. Pacheco always runs angry. He just needs to keep on his damn helmet. How do you get your helmet knocked off, not one play, but 2 plays in a row, then you get knocked out from a concussion? Jesus. Barry says, nobody expects Brady to come in and look better than Burrow. But he is, though. Like that, like... I think that is what is, what's the word I'm looking for? Polarizing about Jake Browning is that he was a 3rd-string quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, right? AJ McCown was the backup. Ultimately got injured, right? Like the week before Joe Burrow got injured, ironically. But nobody expect nothing out of Jake Browning. Yes, I know he had a pretty good college career. I mean, I didn't follow it that close. I mean, just looking at his stats and watching like highlights, and he was pretty good. But you are right. Nobody expected him to come in and look better than Joe Burrow, but right now he is. He is looking maybe not better than Joe Burrow, but a better fit for the team, right? Better fit in Cincinnati. A better fit in this offense, a better fit of what they're doing right now. Running the ball, nickeling, diming it down the field, winning on defense, being a game manager. I think that's a problem with Zach Taylor and his coaching scheme when Joe Burrow is in there, is he expects Joe Burrow to be that winning quarterback, to go out there and win me a game, throw the ball 80 times, or 80% of the time, right? Go out there and throw the ball over the field 400, 500, 600 yards. Go out and like do it. Jake Browning. It's like a 50-50 mix, right? I said it last year, right? I thought Tyler Huntley was a better fit for the Baltimore Ravens last season, which I still stand by there. And I think right now, Jake Browning, the way Zach Taylor and the Cincinnati Bengals are playing, is a better fit for the Cincinnati Bengals moving forward. Judas says Cincinnati needs the game more to stay in the playoff hunt. It will validate their talent and their franchise. I don't think it will validate their talent if they make the playoffs, because we know who Jamar Chase is. We know who Boyd is. We know who Higgins is. We are starting to know who Mixon is, right? The only thing it would validate if the Cincinnati Bengals make the playoffs is, can we move on from Joe Burrow? Is there somebody out there willing to unload his contract and we get a Jake Browning, right? 3 years left on his rookie deal. We can sign Jamar Chase to a massive deal. We can sign T. Higgins to a massive deal. Realize this, guys. Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl window, the minute they signed Joe Burrow, went from like 6 years to about 2 years, right? The Cincinnati Bengals have about 2 years to win a Super Bowl because of the deal that they gave Joe Burrow. If they make the playoffs, it validates that maybe we can move on from Joe Burrow. Maybe there's a team out there like the Minnesota Vikings that would trade us Justin Jefferson. I'm just spitting names out there. Maybe there's a team out there, a division team, Pittsburgh Steelers. Give us 2 first-round picks for Joe Burrow. Now, I don't think you would ever trade interdivision a talent like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's a very talented quarterback. That'd be dumb. But what about the Giants? Cardinals, right? There are people out there. Barry says there's always too much pressure on Burrow to win. Browning really comes in with nothing to lose. Spot on. Smitty's back up in here, and he says, bro, we're not worried. The 49ers will be the number 1 seed in the NFC. Brissett got hurt in practice. Stop begging. Not begging for anything, my man. Not begging for anything. Barry says those two have to try harder because there's nothing supporting cast other than Prosecco, meaning Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. I think this game, Cincinnati Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs, we are going to see an emergence of a receiver. We are going to finally see Rashee Rice live up to the hype that he's been, quote, living up to, right? Or not living up to. Maybe Sky Moore can maybe not be that bust. I think this weekend versus the Bengals, we are going to see a new Kansas City Chiefs team. We're going to see a new Kansas City Chiefs team. Arthur Brown says Tua needs that dog. He's in Miami. Tyreek Hill. Let me ask you guys this. Obviously, my Miami Dolphins have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mostert, Akne, right? A very, very fast, a very, very athletic team. If you would take away Tyreek Hill, arguably one of the fastest people in the NFL, route skills are decent, right? Would that change the Miami Dolphins? Like, I think the Miami Dolphins would be a lot more dangerous team without Tyreek Hill on the field, to be honest, Arthur Brown. I'm not trying to take away Tyreek Hill's talent. I'm not trying to take away Tua's talent. But right now, what scares you about the Miami Dolphins is their passing game, right? And sometimes I feel like the Miami Dolphins forget that they have probably the best core of running backs in the NFL in Mostert and Wilson and Akne, right? They have one of the best cores in the NFL, and I feel like they don't really use them and abuse them enough. So if Tyreek Hill wasn't on the Miami Dolphins, I think they would be that much more dangerous. Because right now, you can pretty much take away Tyreek Hill, and Waddle might step up, might not. The running game might step up, might not. But like, the biggest thing about the Miami Dolphins is they're all about boom, 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 right? Because they are so fast. You disrupt up that timing just a little bit. You put Tua or pressure on Tua just a little bit. The Miami Dolphins are not a very good team. It's all about timing. It's all about speed. You take away Tyreek Hill, I think you have to develop your offense a little bit more. But you do have them. So Braden says the Dolphins need this win because if they don't, they potentially choke away the division after having a 4-game lead. Wouldn't that be tough? You beat the Dallas Cowboys. You have a 4-game lead on the division, right? Buffalo Bills come in hot, win that division, and you're sitting at like a 5th seed, and you got to play your interstate rival in the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Indianapolis Colts. Do you want to play that? I don't know. But that is true. I think you're right, Braden. And Barry says, oh, okay, I didn't know about the commercials. I stand corrected. Like, just like the Super Bowl stuff, right? They've been filming those since August. So all these Super Bowl commercials that we see, Valentine's, right? These have all been recorded like a year ago. David says, Chargers in the house. Too bad it's time for us to go, David. It's 10 o'clock here, damn near 10:30 on the East Coast. I know it's like 6:30 out there on the West Coast. Sun's starting to set, starting to look beautiful, going down the ocean. But guys, it has been a great show tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in. 9 p.m. East Coast here time, guys. I love it. We might have to bring back the after hour show. Let me talk to Hoffy. Let me talk to my wife, the CEO. Let's see if we can't bring back the after hour show, guys. Tuesdays and Fridays. Why not, right? Live, raw, uncut NFL sports talk, guys. Who do you guys got winning? Bengals or the Chiefs? Let me know. We'll see you Monday. Have a great week of football, NFL Week 17. Tune into the Game Threads, guys. Talk that shit. Have a great night.